My mic was muted. Sorry about that. Hi, and welcome to episode number 46 of STX Weekly. Yeah, we keep making the show a little tighter and more efficient. I'm going to aim for, let's say, 15 minutes, maybe even lower, if I can get the show done. What are we trying to do in the show? 5 top sports tech news stories of the week. Got a few good ones for you this week. Let's kick it off right now with our top funding news. Okay, so last week, this episode, I believe I brought that from the beach. I'm still in Goa, still enjoying the sun, still a bit sweaty, which is nice. But prefer to be warm rather than cold. Drop me a line in the chat. Tell me where you're watching this from. But in last week's show, I covered only one funding round. It was part of my broader story that yes, there has been a clear slowdown in sports tech investment activity. I don't think it's restricted to sports tech. It's clear that funding activity in general has slowed down. That being said, that there is capital in the market to deploy. There are so many funds that have made announcements for new funds, or round 2 or round 3 of their fund. Apart from that, new investors are entering the market consistently. And we've got a little bit more activity this week to talk about. Yeah, so again, for sports tech founders, it'll be a bit hit and miss, but just know that there is capital waiting to deploy. So keep at it, keep reaching out to investors, reach out to me, to us. Maybe we can help. But in the meantime, companies that don't need any help, we've got somebody called Extract One, who Madison Square Garden, MSG Sports invested in. It is essentially, it's not a sports solution, but it's a solution for sports venues and other venues. It's a security company that uses AI, use of facial recognition, along with other AI-based systems, will allow Extract One to make these venues smarter for security. It, yeah, removes those clunky metal, let's say, gates. I guess that's what we call them, that you walk through. Yeah, you don't have to do any of that anymore. Instead, using Extract One, MSG will be able to update its venue. Interestingly for me, that they didn't decide to just use the services of this company. They've instead actually invested. They're doing a 6.3 million round, followed, which can be topped up by 3.7 million. So totally about 10 million. Curious to see where that one goes. Who else? Gfinity is a esports news and content platform who raised 2 million. This is a British company. They've raised in pounds, it would seem. There's another Indian company, Penta Esports, sorry. Their parent company, Newgen Gaming, raised 1 million as well. This is from Encore Games. This company is looking to grow esports in India, which is already growing in a big way. I've had, actually, I believe that episode will come out next week, if it's not out already today. Router, which is an esports streaming company. I had their founder, Piyush, on our show. Piyush is an old friend, very large company now. They've just raised 25 million. Well, they raised 25 million last year. Today, I think there are about 17 million monthly active users, 1.5 million daily active, growing the esports stream, so gaming streaming community. I had Loco on the show a few months ago. In fact, Penta Esports recently partnered with streaming platform Loco to, let's say, enhance their grassroots esports efforts. That's what the article goes on to say. So a couple of esports companies, one security company, one cricket-based startup, Ludimos. I've actually tested the solution. You'll find the video. Or maybe don't look for the video unless you're looking for a laugh and maybe see how cricket is not always played super well. But we had a good time testing out the product. It's a phone-based AI solution. It's a phone-based, your mobile device-based AI coach for cricket. Madan, who's pictured here, is again somebody that I've known for a while. We've seen a solution evolve, and kudos to them for raising another round. This is through Dutch Sports Tech Fund. fund that has entered the market. I believe in 2019-20 is when they kind of made an announcement, and they've since been increasingly active, but clearly for startups from the region. And this company, Ludimos, is from Amsterdam, which is where Modern is based. You can go to our YouTube channel to see the video of me testing Ludimos. Nikki is calling in from Dubai. Nikki, I don't know if you're a fan of cricket. In Dubai, there is a fair bit of cricket played because there are a fair number of people from the subcontinent. Maybe you'll find some interest in Ludimos. Go check it out. Who else raised money this week? Yeah, the last one. The NBA invested in Gym Class VR. They have a licensing deal with this solution. They basically provide NBA teams and NBA apparel and merchandise in VR environments. NBA is doing quite a few things with Horizon Worlds, with a bunch of different, let's say, virtual world formats, including games. They just launched their Pokemon Go style game with Niantic, the creators of Pokemon Go. So the NBA continues to invest in virtual worlds and virtual environments. Maybe that is a game for you. Nikki loves cricket. Maybe he also loves basketball. You can check out this solution as well. And also, this is part of a story that a few months ago, I think on this episode, maybe around 35 or something, which talked about the NBA increasing its presence as an equity partner for startups, not just as a testing ground, where as an open innovation hub, but them being active to be an equity participant, like them deploying capital to, not always capital, actually that's unfair, because I know that they do a lot of media or different formats or data sharing formats for that equity, but just to have the NBA on your cap table, I think is a really powerful offering. So no wonder a lot of startups are open to it. Gym Class VR being another one of them. All right, that is all the top deals, from money being spent to money being raised. Usually I'd have a story like this nearer the top of my list for the week, but this is ISIS Capital, which is a fund that is being raised to invest not only in sports tech startups, but also in sports leagues, teams. I forgot to sign in to read this article. I have another link, I think. Let me see if I can find it. No, I dumped that one. Anyway, ISIS Capital is a $750 million fund based out of the US, which will look to invest in sports leagues, teams, and emerging properties and ancillary businesses. This is for all you startups. And this I find interesting, the regions that they target, North America, Europe, and Pan Asia. And of course, why it's also relevant is that they will have Carmelo Anthony on as a partner for the fund. The other article I had come across, I think, was on Sports Pro Media. This is, let's go with the official press release, yeah? This is on PR Wire. So George Barrios and Michelle Wilson, these are former founders of, or they were on the board of, was it Fanatics? I think so. Anyway, these two guys, veterans of the industry, who have now partnered with Carmelo Anthony to raise a $750 million fund. And they have a diverse management group. They're bullish about the sports space, etc. Like a lot of boilerplate stuff in the rest of the article, the most important thing is that, again, there continues to be new funds. That's what I said at the top. There are new funds emerging constantly to invest in sports and sports technology companies. This is the latest on that list. ISIS Capital, keep an eye out for them. Next up, we covered a story about Peloton last week, about whether there is some sort of emergence, how they're coming back into prominence after a share price which has been tanking for a long time. I'm not so sure. The headwinds are pretty strong for the connected fitness industry. And in this week, there has been another story dropped, which is Tonal, a company that has raised over 600 million. I think it's 660 million or something like that. They raised, 550 million. The last round that they did last year at 100 million value, 100 million at a near 2 billion valuation. This brings their total funding to 550 million. Now, I believe this article and the other article that I read covers it that the company itself is available for about 500 million. That is quite a drop in valuation. So, hey, if you have 500 million dollars lying around spare, maybe Tonal is the company for you. That said, there's a reason for why solutions like Peloton and Tonal, Mirror, which is bought over by Lululemon, I think a couple of years ago, we covered a story on them also a few months ago, but Lululemon was not happy with their purchase. These big, expensive devices sitting in your living room or somewhere in your house are not as attractive to people post-pandemic. They were very attractive to people during the pandemic, it seemed, when gyms were not accessible. But now to spend $4,000, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I mean, even the cheap end devices, which are these big fitness units, cost $2,000, $2,500. That's a lot of money to spend locked into one type of fitness. And on top of that, you're paying a monthly subscription as well. Usually, it's clear that this behavior is not one that people are continuing post-pandemic. Yeah, so a lot of these companies are suffering. There's a lot of investor money tied up into this space. That's not to say that the space is completely dead. I think there are formats or maybe less hardware dependent formats that will succeed, but these big machines, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't so bullish about them earlier. It just seemed like it really. I understood it from the company's point of view that they were selling you a big device which locks you in, but from the consumer's point of view, I don't know why you would spend that kind of money. You might change your mind. You want to do different things, and this is exactly the behavior that consumers are exhibiting now. So Tonal up for sale. Another company in the smart connected fitness space, which is, let's say, feeling the burn or feeling the pain. Yeah, funds aside, what else we got? Have more space from more the content industry, or let's say broadcasting tech. LaLiga, which kudos to the team. I mean, Javier Tebas, once he came in to took over at La Liga, he had a clear mandate to grow the sport, or grow the Spanish football in popularity around the world. It was a big league, but also his part of his mandate was to grow La Liga as a business, to not let it go the way of Serie A, which has been struggling for a number of years. And in amongst those initiatives, apart from increasing broadcasting power and reach and things, he launched La Liga Tech. I think it's been well over a year since La Liga Tech was born, whose job is to provide tech solutions from broadcasting to back office. So let's say operations-based work to centralize a lot of those activities for La Liga and for the leagues itself, using an American model of how a lot of the functions are centralized by the NBA, by the MLB, by the NFL. So La Liga Tech was offering that to a lot of its teams. Now they're launching La Liga Studios, which is here to provide sport-related content production. Again, for La Liga and for its teams for their various requirements. They are partnering with Bunny J. I hope I'm saying that right. Bunny J Iberia, which is a production house, and they found a good partner. Same with La Liga Tech. They partnered with, I believe it was Globant. And they found a good tech partner to build out La Liga Tech. They found a good production partner to build out La Liga Studios. And through this partnership, they will produce audiovisual content for La Liga themselves, clubs, sponsors, broadcasters, live content, behind the scenes content, original storytelling, the whole lot. Yeah. Now, this is part of another bigger, wider trend of sports organizations investing in their own production studios. Atalanta Falcons did this earlier this year. They opened Ticketmaster Solutions just because they can see that instead of going to a lot of third-party vendors, as sports becomes increasingly a media and entertainment business, it makes sense for these guys, for the sports teams, leagues, federations to own their content, and not just the content, which of course is theirs. These are their rights that they sell to others. But maybe if they own it and produce it and distribute it themselves, it'll be a far more value-adding proposition in the long term. We're seeing this as more leagues go direct to consumer with their streaming services. We've seen La Liga do it in different parts of the world. The NFL, of course, the NBA visionaries, they've been doing this for a number of years. So more teams, more leagues are taking ownership of their content distribution, and now teams themselves are taking ownership of their content production as well. This is a trend that we might see continue. AC Milan have their studios, which they launched last year as well. So there are a few companies doing this. And speaking of innovation in sports production, this is our top story for the week. Disney, as part of their pilot, remember we talked a lot about the Nickelodeon partnership with the NFL, with the Slime Zone, which was a hugely successful partnership. The NFL did something with Beyond Sports, a Dutch company, where they had a live game appearing in a Lego kind of blocky format. So you're watching sports as a cartoon. Well, Disney will start doing that now as well. And Disney's doing this with the NHL for a game, I believe, next month on March 14th. This is a game between the Washington Capitals and New York Rangers, which will be broadcast on Disney. Why are they doing this? I think clearly in the headline, this is why I chose this story to talk about it. We'll animate coverage for Disney Channel to get kids into hockey. No rocket science. If you're showing sports as a cartoon, it's because it's the cartoon element is for the kids. Yeah, sports is increasingly trying to target younger users, and to make it appealing for younger users, do it in an animated format. The technology is really interesting. There's a few companies that do this now. Real-time rendering. I've even seen a little bit of this. Like, it is genuinely real-time. I don't know about this solution from Disney, but I've seen Beyond Sports' version, and there's hardly any lag. In fact, I think in one instance it was quicker than the broadcaster, because the broadcaster always has a 4 to 6 second lag. The story goes on to talk about different examples. Verizon, Beyond Sports, and Celestune were also providing services to this animation, apparently. And NHL's Edge Planner and puck tracking, which is their smart puck, will also be used. So there's a bunch of technology that goes in to create this real-time rendering. And that is really, really powerful. What else does this say? First of its kind, there's a little trailer video play. If you can see this, it just shows it's a part with Big City, which is a car, and the buzzers are going to be all watching an ice hockey game. Fun times for the kids, fun times for the family. All right, that is more innovation, more innovation in broadcasting, which was, I don't know if you read the article on Sports Pro Media, one that I contributed to, about the biggest upcoming trends in sports tech. Broadcast innovation was my big hitter for this year. I think we'll see a lot more of that as we see Amazon, as we see Apple, as we see Disney, all of these guys investing increasingly in live sports. So you'll expect to see much more innovation coming for the rest of the year. What is coming from us for the rest of the year? Well, this show, will continue to come to you every week. 18 minutes I'm at. I'll try to tighten this if I can, but I want to give you a decent amount of context. For more context, obviously, you can download our report, the Global Sports Tech VC report. Follow our Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, all our handles. You know what those are. And especially if you like this show, we've been averaging, not millions as we joke, but we've found a nice loyal community of viewers, a couple hundred. If you think that the show gives you value, really appreciate a share, really appreciate tagging somebody else, try to bring this to a wider audience. That'll help us get our message out and talk about what is happening in sports tech. All right, we will continue this conversation next week.